Good evening, Mr. Fenn.
Hey, Mr. Gannick,
Happy New Year.
and to you, sir.
Keeping out of trouble so far?
No,
Yeah, I know that feeling.
yeah. No, we've had some issues in our family, so I've been behaving myself.
Yeah,
I have a daughter that's been in the hospital for almost a month now, so.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, she, actually, they lost her and brought her back, believe it or not.
It's crazy.
But, we're happy she's moving along quite nicely now, but
Always a worry, isn't it?
yeah, well, your kids, no matter what age they are, they're,
Always your kids.
yeah.
I know that feeling.
I was looking at your announcement here of the November 16th meeting. You said something about you wanted somebody to look at that.
Yeah, last meeting we said we wanted to try to get something into the February Citizen about the meeting and what went on, and so I struggled a little bit. But I just threw something together to kind of get the conversation rolling. I know that all of you guys will be able to fill in the blanks, and
No.
you're better at the English language than I am. English is my second language, and I only have one language, so I'm kind of stuck.
Hello, Maureen.
How you doing? Happy
How
New
are
Year.
you doing, Ray?
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Can't you believe there's 9 days down already?
No.
Just the days keep rolling. The only good news is there's 70 days until spring, and I guess the only good news I'll say is that I don't mind the weather being the way it is right now. I mean, I like snow and I like to do ice fishing and things, but I don't mind this weather right now.
I
Yeah,
agree.
let's have it all winter long. That would be all right.
Right. So, yeah, Maureen, I don't know if you know, I kind of late or early this afternoon, I did send out an email, just trying to take a stab at one of the things on our agenda item, I guess our new business.
Mhm.
But trying to keep that conversation going. And Happy New Year.
When's the deadline for the February Citizen?
It's always they always have it the 19th of the month. So I don't.
Okay.
Happy New Year.
Happy New
Hi,
Year.
Gwen.
New Year.
Hi.
So I guess that's the 19th is what, a Wednesday?
Okay.
Yeah.
No,
I think I'll
Thursday.
shock you folks, and I'll open up my camera.
Hey, we have a quorum, so I'm going to call this meeting to order.
Hi, Ray. Happy New
All
Year.
right,
Good to see you.
I'm
So
here.
yeah, hopefully everybody had a good end and a good beginning to the new year. And great, thank you for being here this evening. We'll get everything going along, so we can, if anybody's interested in watching the college football game or getting some extra should I early tonight. So anyway, but did you all have a chance to look at the minutes from our last meeting? It was mostly about obviously our guest speaker,
Mhm.
Joe Nichols. But anybody have any comments?
It was very
Yeah.
interesting.
Huh?
It's very interesting.
Oh yes, yeah, that was for sure. So
Are
anybody?
you talking about the big meeting or are you talking about one of our smaller?
Our last our future meeting.
And what-
With Jay Nichols.
Let me just find it. I may find it. What was the date?
December 5th. You were there.
Okay, great.
The four of us were there. The same. We'll call
This-
ourselves the Fantastic Four. We were all
This was
there.
the lady this was the lady on the farm bit, wasn't it?
Correct.
Oh, yes, that was good.
So do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So
Yes.
I moved.
moved.
Second.
I'll second.
Okay, good. Thanks. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Or anybody opposed? Okay, good. Moving on, any communications and announcements? The only announcement I'll make is that Richard couldn't make it tonight because our meeting got pushed back a week. Planning and zoning has their meeting tonight as well, so or else he probably would have been here, but.
Is that always going to be a conflict or is it just how it fell this month?
Just how it fell this month. We're always the first Monday of the month, but because of the holiday, I just pushed it off to the second. Unless somebody wants to, if the holiday you want to do it a different day, let me know. But I don't think we have any other conflicts for the rest of the year. But I didn't check it either, but that's the story there. Any other communication or announcements anybody has? Okay, I'll move on to old business. The November leadership meeting, we did talk about it a little bit the last meeting at the end of it, but I will share with you that I did, I think you'll probably all CC'd on it as well, but I did send out all the information from the meeting, that kind of the draft notes and things, to all the attendees on the December 16th of 2022. And I did get some very limited responses. I mean, the only substantive one is Linda Gagney had some comments that she was misquoted. So I kind of I have to fix the minutes or the notes for what she had indicated. She said she did not bring up the issue about you know, affordable housing, whatever. So I'll strike that and change that, use her verbiage or whatever she put in there. But so it's really the only other comment.
Is that the letter that we read? No.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I think so, but I probably typed it up wrong.
Oh, okay. I thought, boy, how did I mess that up?
No, I know you didn't do it. You did everything wonderfully. So thank you. So other than that, just a few comments from people that appreciated the meeting. There's a few people that were on the original invite or whatever, and that weren't able to attend, and they chimed in and said they were sorry they couldn't make it, but appreciate this effort moving forward, and they hope to be at the next one. So that's good as well. So yeah, I mean, other than that, the thing that's really all I had, other than if anybody else wanted to chime in about any other thoughts or new thoughts you had on the meeting, the leadership meeting. Any thoughts on it, or other comments of information that was sent out, or because you know the biggest next thing will be obviously to kind of see if we can regroup again, and you know, I'll have to circle back with after all the holidays here, circle back with Jeff Silversmith, and you know, can kind of hopefully seize the energy that he brought to the meeting, and you know, continue on for kind of setting that target time frame for kind of a follow-up to this meeting. And also, you know, that we'll discuss it in new business, but obviously we want to continue to keep a kind of a little bit of visibility with it beyond just the people that came to it that we've communicated with. So yeah, and I haven't talked with Bill Folletti since then either. So yes, Gwen.
I just want to say I think it went really well, and I liked hearing all the voices. Old people, new people that, you know, hadn't come to some meetings, like the Sportsman's Club, people who come regularly, and I liked all the different opinions. Somehow things all came together. There wasn't like arguing, fighting. Everything was pretty peaceful, and put forth their view, and like the Historical Society, everything, like everyone was getting along and happy with how we're moving forward. I mean, we had the pandemic that slowed things down a lot, but when people describe their vision or their view, I think a lot of it meshed, and we were on board. Even if they had like opposing views, they saw that there was a way to make it fit, to make the economics work with the conservation and with preserving history. And it was like I got a good feeling from it, like our town was kind of coming together.
Yeah, I share that view, that I think there's obviously a lot of diverse personalities and opinions, and people have different perspectives on what things be going on, not only here in Ashford and the world, but I think for our little piece of the world, Ashford, I think that was a pretty productive meeting for a couple hours out. And I thought it was a lot of good information generated in such a short time.
Mike?
Yes, sir.
Maybe we could bottle that sense that Gwen is talking about, and we could ship it out nationally.
I know. I'm just so tired of it all. I'm glad I live out in the woods sometimes.
Yeah.
Away from people, other than you guys.
Yeah.
You got a
Oh,
nice
we
piece
could-
of,
we could be a
nice piece of
problem
woods
too, Mike.
there. Yeah,
Yeah.
we couldn't really bottle that and ship it. People live in cities, just, what we have is pretty precious here.
And I think that's, that's what we all rally around. I think that to me is, I think you hit it on the nail, Gwen, that, I mean, we're faced with some economic realities here where we need to do something with the tax base a little bit. We have some opportunities to do that, but we also I mean, I'm on the Economic Development Commission, Ray is. I mean, we were both on conservation. He was on one. I mean, we understand that there has to be a balance.
And Margaret Chady, is now Margaret Chady on that with you?
Yeah, she's our acting chair. Yeah.
Well, she
yeah.
did a great job facilitating. She's a good
Yep.
speaker.
That's for sure. So yeah. So I mean, I think you're right. I mean, I think that what we need to do now is to kind of take that next step with some of the things that were raised and kind of get more people engaged in this conversation. Even the people that were there, but to continue to get to the next level, I'll say, of specificity on some of these items that were raised. And there may be other ones that come up too, or that may even be more important than things that were listed or kind of bubbled up to the surface on that meeting we had. But yeah, I think there remains a lot of opportunity. I mean, I'm optimistic for some future good things to happen here in Ashford. We just need people like everywhere. I think a lot of people are just burnt out for a variety of reasons from everything that's happening with the pandemic and everything else. And I think we just gotta have to have people who can, bite into what part of the pie that they want to bite into and help continue the conversation and good work. All this is good and nice, but if we don't do anything with it, then it was just a wasted couple hours out on a dark night in November. So that's our challenge. I mean, I think Jeff did a great job in facilitating things, and I think he certainly every conversation and time I met with him, he really was buying. He wanted to be the to lead this new update of the POCD, and he understands the importance of it. It was interesting, I think, that the strategic planning came up as one of the items for many people on their list. And really, the POCD can act in one sense as a strategic plan or a business plan for the community. It's probably the closest thing we have, quite frankly. And so there's a lot of good things, a lot of good information in there, a lot of goals and objectives that really can be acted upon to help guide the town in the future. So, but I think his comment about everybody adding the POCD to their agenda and talk about what's in it that committee or board or commission is responsible for is a great first place to start. Because if you don't think about it, you're not going to even talk about it or do anything about it. So. But I think I'm gonna have to circle back with him and Bill Folletti and see, okay, how do you guys gonna get this to the next level? Because it's good to talk about this stuff, but there's, how do we act on these things? How do we act on, looking at the tax base and finding other sources of revenue? Good, Ray. You had something you want to say, Ray?
No, I was just fondling my pencil here.
Oh, okay. I yak too much here, but. The strategic plan, obviously the strategic plan, the POCD is that document or that instrument, and that's a great thing. And then we talked about the need for more senior housing, affordable housing is an issue. You see on the state legislature's got that on their radar for this new session. So we as Ashford have to kind of poised to make sure we do it the way Ashford wants it to be done, not as a mandate, so to speak. We also have to look at
right. Like also, besides seniors needing affordable housing, these young people, with their school loans, getting out of college, and sometimes young couples. And where do they find affordable housing? They can't. So they're living in my basement.
Right. Yeah.
My son and his fiance. Because could you imagine what it cost to, to forget about buying a new house, but even just to rent is so expensive for young people.
I know. And then, obviously we have the other thing that came up was, the protecting and preserving the environment, our history and rural character. I mean, there's that remains a topic and a focus, which I think is important. And to your point, in a different way, Glenn, is that the last thing that came up for a number of different people is, how to engage younger residents, how to get them more involved. I mean,
I was on that group, but I felt like it's a losing battle because they're so busy with, if they have kids, it's all, and they're working so many different shifts that it's really hard to get that group. I mean, unless the mom is at home and the kids are in school for a few hours, then maybe they could, be on a volunteer committee. But I mean, I know I was in that situation and it was really hard.
Yep.
But I was one home. But if I would, how can these people who are working all the time do anything when they have kids?
Right. Yep. So anyhow, I think those 5 issues that kind of, or I should say ideas that kind of rose to the top there are credible. Just how do we advance them to get actually something done? I think it's good to talk about it, but I don't think any of us want to waste our time just talking about it. We want to see, how do we develop plans of action, as Ray would say,
Good. Actually, it sounds like you're into item 5 already on your
That's
agenda.
about, yep.
You kind of slipped into that in a sneaky fashion.
Well, is there anything else? There's no other project updates. I mean, I have, or I think the ones we've talked about is our famous RSA, and I know that they're kind of going around with the state still and trying to see if they can get some of those things advanced. So I did reconnect with Bill Folletti on the people at the state a little bit, but the holidays I think have just kind of gotten in the way too. It's amazing how you have November, December seem to be lost months because of the holidays, and it's true, I guess. But anyhow, and then new member recruitment. I mean, I know we keep on talking. Margaret's talking to some people. I keep on trying to twist some elbows of people I know in the community, but no luck so far. So now, new business. Discuss leadership info for the February Citizen. I did send out late or early this afternoon, kind of something to draft, and then I kind of got slowed down towards the end of it, but I kind of very almost boring approach, but it was kind of just trying to highlight this, make it concise with the information that was provided at the meeting, or it was a result of the meeting, I should say, but try to tell the story of the meeting with how it went through and real quickly in a short version. But I really would appreciate if any of you have a better literary license than I do to kind of take what was done at that meeting and put it out there so people understand what it is and where we're going.
So you don't have any complaints if it's stuff is moved around on your memo here?
Not at all. No, like I said, I was trying to be, I'm an engineer with a background, so I think about logic, trying to put things in a certain order, chronological order, and trying to make them concise. So I mean, I was trying to say, okay, if we only get a small piece of the, can't have 5 pages in the Citizen. If we get half a page, well, what can we put in there that people can read it and understand what the meeting was about?
Seeing I wasn't, Mike, seeing I was unable to go to that meeting. Can I ask a question relative to this?
Yep.
Bill Folletti, although he was the primary, if you will, opening up the meeting and welcoming members, the people that went. I kind of get the impression from your comments here that his big shtick on this whole thing was the recognition and the encouragement of more volunteerism in the town. Was that his kind of his key position after welcoming everybody to the meeting?
Maureen.
I heard him say that. And I thought that was really nice.
I agree. Well, all I'm trying to say is that if you're going to put this thing together, I think that there's 2 key people to kind of open up the memo or the announcement in the Citizen. And I would say first is Bill Folletti, secondly is Jeff Silversmith. I would attribute the plea and the appreciation of volunteers and town staff, et cetera, to Bill Folletti.
Right.
I would attribute the, the connection between this meeting and the results of our existing POCD and the future POCD to Jeff Silversmith. In other words, I'm trying to put people peg people in a proper hole. If you're going to
Give them credit for what they did. I like that, Ray.
Okay, the other thing is I would drill in more effectively on these 5 items, and I would not label them as seemed to be the most common. I would not put that quote in. I would say these are the results of this meeting. And the reason I'm saying that is if someone has something better, or if someone has something that could modify one of these items or increase its value, let them come forth. And you may want to offer that in your memo in the town crier, that, there's nothing, give them a way to come back to you on these 5 points. Because these are, quite frankly, these are pretty all encompassing. If you think about it, these are pretty important to the town, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with these being the primary result of your November 16th meeting.
But that doesn't mean the spring meeting has to be the exact same.
No,
topics.
that's not my point. I'm talking about
Right.
what is here. You can
Right.
carry, for an example, if you're talking affordable housing, you're saying, well, that is an issue. It's not, seems to be an issue. It is an issue. There's a difference between the language. So therefore, if you want to carry that forward to your spring meeting, okay, fine. If you want to modify that, for an example, as you pointed out, seniors versus young people in town, as you pointed out, Gwen, that would modify affordable housing. Defining affordable housing in Ashford is different than the definition of affordable housing in Mansfield. Maybe you'd want to bring that to your spring meeting. As, in other words, there's a lot of meat in these 5 items that you could go on for 10 years on these things.
Oh, yeah.
As far as
And doesn't it matter who shows up at the next meeting? Let's say a different group with different interests. Would that modify the topics?
See, the thing is, I would not allow modification to be, loosey-goosey. Pretty soon you end up with confusion. You got pieces and parts all over the place. You're trying to drill down into an action position. Therefore, if you have all kinds of variety and ifs and ands and whereases, you have a lot of fluff out there. You're not gonna be able to concentrate on it. Folks will concentrate on something if it's meaningful and it has some kind of an end result or a benefit to them. Or
Right, it's more the majority, not like a little side branch. Well, bicycle trails is a little side thing. It isn't like the whole town is all on that. Let's work on this.
Yeah,
so we have to focus.
I go back to a lot of things we've done in this town. For an example, the property on Pompey Hollow Road, I guess it's Hollow Road, and Route 44, that one on the corner. That was brought up for the Dollar General. Okay, that was killed because we had, quite frankly, we had a mass of people that said they didn't want it. And we had a town representative, that said, okay, if you don't, we won't do it. But that was a minority. That was less than 50 people decided on a $1.5 million piece of property. That's stupid. That's almost as bad as having 340 people vote for the town budget. We want to stop that kind of stuff. We want more people to be involved. Well, anyways, I've said my piece.
I
I'll
just
shut up now.
suggest too, if we have in the February issue a summary, but maybe if they will give us like a half a page every month, maybe we could focus on one of the 5 points.
That's
to keep
great.
the conversation going.
Very good.
That's good.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Okay, so if you don't mind, Ray or Maureen and Glenn, if there's some things you want to mark up and just send my way, by the end of this week, then I can get that thing out next week. And those are great points. And yeah, I like that idea of maybe one topic or 2 topics a month for the next couple months afterwards. And,
Good.
yeah. Yeah, and I think
Drum up interest for the next meeting if they see what the topics are in more depth, each one.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting though that to your question, Gwen, about different topics. I think if you look at these 5 items that were just brought up, I mean, there's something in it for everybody, so to speak. And to Ray's point, a lot of the detail or things that could be taken into the plan of conservation development in the future. Excuse me. There's a lot of spider webs that come off each one of these things. You could link the bike paths part to any one of these things, or it could be part of like the strategic plan of the town. As one of the, because the strategic plan of the town covers everything that you'd ever want to think. But I think the interesting thing was that there was such diversity in the small group we had, but and also all these items kind of percolated through everybody's conversation. So I don't care if you had a group of 25 like we had, a group of 100, you'd probably get the same 5 things coming up to the surface.
Well, there's another topic that we really couldn't go into was Cadle Rock, and everybody wanted to, but we're not there yet. So that's like a future.
Well, that's right there on item number 1, how to increase the tax base and find other sources of revenue. But it's also and interwoven with the item number 4, which is how to protect, preserve the environment and those character and all those things. So
and potentially affordable housing.
And that one too, it could be. I mean, we don't know. I mean, the good news there is that selectmen put in for a grant that would help pay for developing a master plan for the property that would basically solicit public input for the sole purpose of deciding, whatever cafeterias of opportunities there are, cafeteria options there are for that property. So I mean, it's all good.
That's really exciting. I think that would bring people in if they knew that.
Yeah.
Well, I think some of the things that have happened in the past in this town that have gone into too few ears or into too few brains, getting more people involved. We have 4,000 plus in this town. If we got more people involved, I think we would get better decisions and we'd get more activity. So I would think, Mike, that if we took this letter and tried to have make it friendly, cuddly on the top when it goes to the things, and we don't want anybody to get all bent out of shape. But underlying this thing would be our strategy for the next 3 or 4 months, and projecting this whole thing onto the next meeting and ultimately onto a POCD. I think if we had that mindset, this might be a lot of fun. Who knows?
Yeah. And what I'll do is I'll send this out to Jeff and Bill Folletti, and obviously because their names are mentioned in it, but just to make sure that they are all okay with this. But we're kind of, we've kind of, as they've said, both Bill and Jeff said, we've kind of been the ones kind of our town, our future. We're the facilitators. We kind of keep things moving along, and so that while they're all busy doing other things, we're kind of trying to take this information and kind of continue to package it in a way that we can keep it out there in the public's eye and being noticed and things. So that's why we're kind of doing this work in a sense to help them. So but I'll circle back and get something off to them tomorrow, just for what that draft. If you guys have something you want to type out tonight or tomorrow to get to me,
what kind of a deadline are you giving us? If you want a little revamp or wordsmith or direction on this thing, how much time you're going to give us?
How much time do you need?
All the time we can get.
I can't help with that right now because I'm working 6 days a week. But I made it to this meeting.
You should be 7 days a week. You should be 6. You're laying off, aren't you?
And then I'm a co-executor in the state at night, and I'm going to the Zoom meetings. I have so much stuff. So right now I can't.
Fine. If I poked at it, how much time you give me, Mike?
Well, like I said, this thing has to go out next week.
That isn't what I asked you.
I said, okay, by the end of the week. How's that? By Friday.
Okay. If I don't do something
Friday at 9:38 in the morning.
What, Friday?
Friday at 9:30 by 9:38 in the morning.
9:38. You can't make it around 9:40.
Oh, well, it's okay. Go ahead, Maureen.
A lot of people, the recurring theme is they want to keep Ashford this rural, whatever that is and everything. And I think what people derive from that is, I just don't want to get involved. I want to be left alone and all of that. And I think we need to make people see that even if you want to live that way, there are decisions being made that are going to affect you. It doesn't mean you have to become
That's
tremendously,
good.
you know, that you can't just hide under a rock, you know, and things are happening that you don't, isn't going to take a tremendous amount of your time, but you need to know what's going on to protect the
Mhm.
lifestyle that you want.
Even if you don't
Yeah.
participate, you should be knowledgeable,
Exactly. Yeah.
Informed, right?
Yes.
informed.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I think that's why we're all here, right? I mean, we all feel that way, and that's what brought us
Mhm.
together. So great.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, so we'll get that together, and if you have any input, you know, that you want to send me, specificity on words and language or paragraphs, whatever, but all good points. And I may take a shot at what I've heard here tonight just before I send something over to Jeff and Bill for their input as well. And yeah, that's good. And
I just want to have another question. It's not real directly related to that, but it's just like we've had those pandemic for years, and then we had before that we had a lot of these vacant plaza little strip things on Route 74. So I'm like wondering now how we're doing compared to before the pandemic. Are we doing worse? Are we getting some of these buildings? Are we getting them rented? Are they falling apart? You know, this is all part of our town. I'm just wondering what's going on. Like the jewelry shop, I thought it was still in business. I went ringing, I'm knocking the door, and then I'm trying to call the number, and there's nobody there. And I didn't realize they're out of business. So that must have been a pandemic.
You know,
loss.
we do have in this town, I think it's the water. It could be the water. I'm not quite sure. But there is a certain mode for businesses in this town. And I don't know why. I've tried my best through 50 years plus to do business with town businesses. I think it's good to do that. As an example, I was doing business with a town business to have some tree work done. Tree work is not cheap.
Mm-mm.
Okay, if you've ever had, I had 6
Yes, we
trees
know.
taken down, it was a reasonable amount. When the job was done, I, like a dutiful customer, walked out and handed the person who was on the job the check. Signed, sealed, delivery. At the very moment they drove down the driveway, finished the job. A month later, the check had not been cashed. I called up the business to say, what's going on? They said, oh, we lost it. And I'm thinking to myself, any business worth their weight in salt, getting a check from somebody would put it into a secure place and turn it in and cash it as quickly as possible.
Right.
That's an Ashford business. For some odd reason, that jewelry shop was always locked. If you wanted to go there, you had to have a special appointment to get into the dumb place.
You're kidding. It didn't
No.
used to be
And
like
somebody
that.
in fact, somebody in EDC told me that's how jewelry stores do business. And I told them that they were bogus. Point is, I think Ashford businesses need to have that need to have a course at Eastern or someplace on how to do bloody business so they can stay in business.
well, I mean, that's
I'm very
not for us to
critical.
talk about tonight, but
I
but
know,
I
I'm
was-
sorry,
I was just gonna-
I'm frustrated.
I know. Yeah. Well,
I'm
we're
just wondering if we're having a problem in town, if we're having more vacancies than before.
no, I mean,
Yeah,
Ray and I are on EDC, and we're working. You know, we're working towards some surveys and outreach to the businesses. But I mean, the short answer is, it's like any other town. It's you look at the Manchesters, the Hartfords, you know, even the South Windsors. In any town that has business, they come and go. You know, business success rates probably nationwide are, I don't know what they are, 30–40%. But I think the point being is that we're working towards it. We've got positive things that are happening out there. There's still some things that are struggling, you know, but I think that is the focus EDC has. Shares your same view, Gwen, and we're trying to work towards filling all those businesses.
Yeah.
But to Ray's point too,
There's some
we've
good
outreached
things
a lot of
going on.
business. We've outreached a lot of businesses, and like a lot of businesses don't want government or other people butting into their business because they want to do it their way. It's their business, and they have that right. And so I think that's part of what we've come across too. There's some businesses want our help, and other businesses say we don't want to hear from you. So,
Speaking of
Yeah.
local businesses, what is dragging the thing on the Midway? I mean, is it still investigating this, or what the heck?
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
think they're building.
Yeah,
are
they-
they-
I hope so.
Bill Folletti did mention that at the meeting, didn't he? But he said that they are moving forward. It's like a lot of other things. It takes time. You got to wait for insurance to do their thing, and there's permits. They were trying to do some things in the interim, but they didn't. The building wasn't set up, available to them to do that. So the bottom line is, yes, they're gonna reopen at some point. So
uh-huh.
Good,
I
we
know.
need that.
I know I'm tired of going to Wellington for my pizza. It's not as good.
Well, yeah, it's just, I mean, that was
Right.
a very strong Ashford business. And I thought what he said at the meeting is that they were interested, they were planning to reopen, but I guess I don't understand these things, but what would be taking so long?
The insurance, they have to negotiate with the insurance companies, and that's in other cases, that's what I've seen. And I thought that it was a summer opening. It usually takes about a year.
I had good friends, their house burned, and they actually hired somebody that worked for them to deal with the insurance company to make sure they got, and then they went through every room, and it took them from the time they had their fire in their house, it was a year before they moved back in. So
Is that what the holdup is in that house across from the fire station? Because that's really a store. What's
No,
going on with that? It looks horrible.
That
Ray
that
would know
started
more.
out bad.
That's so sad. That was the old Hungarian schoolhouse. That's an historic building.
It's
Really?
right on the river.
Not anymore.
Not anymore, but it was once beautiful. I remember it 40 years ago, the wainscoting and that, it was gorgeous.
Yeah, we have one on Westford Hill Road, a house that burned probably 12 years ago now. And the car is still sitting out in front. Everything's gone through it. It's like one of those movies,
Wow.
End of days. And you see what deterioration of buildings, how little time it takes for them to deteriorate.
There are
But,
issues in the country, Mike, there's issues in the city, but the country has its problems as well.
So anyhow, any other thoughts? I think we'll look to the future in a positive light. 2023 will be the year. We're going to get some more positive things going here in Ashford.
Yeah.
I'll look forward to any comments you have on that article for the Citizen, and then we'll regroup for next month. And like I said, I'll check back with Jeff and Bill and see what their thoughts are on both an article and Citizen, and also future meeting. Kind of begin to look at that, because it's the days are coming off the calendar pretty darn fast.
You're
Okay.
looking at the spring, is that?
Yeah, I mean, you got the budget thing that comes in too, so you're gonna have to maneuver around the budget cycle, and because a lot of boards and commissions get very involved in that through the beginning of May. So I'm guessing we do something, from middle to end of May, first week of June, before the school stuff and all the recitals and dance and school stuff gets involved too. So, but other than that, one other note I would say that's kind of pertinent to us, I did see that the Ashford Arts Council now calls themselves the Ashford Arts, Ashford Area Arts. So they've kind of renamed themselves. So,
Okay.
so then I don't know if you hear my dog snoring. That's a signal.
It's got you pegged, Mike.
Yeah. I know exactly. That's exactly it.
Is that Tucker?
That's Tucker. Tucker's got a new
Okay.
brother,
Oh,
Oh.
Milo, who's 9.5 weeks old. That's right around the
Oh.
corner. He's not snoring quite yet, but yeah. So that's why I look. If you look, my bags have gotten bigger under my eyes. It's at least they're kind of sleeping through the night, which is good. like having little kids again.
Yeah.
We just got 2 kittens at Christmas, 2 new kittens my son got. So it's the same thing. It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
new babies.
Yeah, that's for sure. So other than that, keep smiling, folks. Good to see you all, and we'll catch you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Mike.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Good night.
Bye. Good
Good
night.
night.
Good night.